guys, it's me, Dominique. Today is Tuesday, I think. Is it Tuesday? It's Monday. Oh, my bad. I'm ready for the week to go on. It's Monday, February 3rd. I'm coming at you guys with the SWV Reunited review. It's season 1, episode 3. My review is kind of late. Of course, it was Super Bowl weekend, and then I'm not going to even make an excuse. I'm just going to get into review. So, this is SWV's Reunited episode season 1, episode 3. So, the beginning of the episode starts off with them talking about their trust issue thing again. For some reason, I kind of felt like it was like kind of like deja vu, like I hadn't heard this before. Like they were basically like they took that same scene from from episode 2, the same beginning scene from episode 2, and put it into episode 3. Because it sounded like they were basically saying the same thing. Only difference was the little shade that Coco threw when she was like, "Not today." That's the only difference for me. But it seemed like I had seen this before in episode 2. So yeah. It begins with the trust issue. Obviously, we know they still have trust issues right now. Okay. So, the next scene goes, well, the first scene, despite the little, I guess, confessional, is them interviewing what I think it was Ebony or Essence magazine. And then at first, like, I kind of felt like, okay, was this an interview or was it a therapy session? Because I know they talked about going to therapy, but like the way the turn that the interview took, it went from interview to therapy for me, which I kind of have a problem with because of the fact like they talked about some very personal issues where it's supposed to be an interview. And I get the fact that they were supposed to be personal for the article, but in the same token, I felt like it should have been some professionalism there, despite the personal thing. I know they want to come off as genuine and stuff, but I felt like it was just too much for an interview. And then it's like Coco felt some type of way when Lily was talking about being self-sufficient and stuff like that and having to do this and that. Like she was feeling some type of way. And my thing is, watching that scene, it's like it made you think that Coco battles so much because it's at the point where Coco does not have a relationship with her 17-year-old son where she doesn't even know where he's at. I'm not saying that, she's a bad mama or anything because he's 17. He's damn near a grown man. So it's like anything could have happened in that situation. But it just makes me feel like what is really going on with Coco and to create a situation with her son. And it's like the fact that Taj is his godmother, and it just goes back to the whole dynamic of the group not being real close, and it's just being about the business and Coco being about self. Like this episode, I feel like it was full of Coco self. And it just kind of bothered me that she didn't even care to tell the girls about not speaking to her son, but she sat down and spoke to an interviewer. I forgot, I think the editor or whatever the lady's title was. It's like she felt so comfortable opening it up to this lady about, I haven't spoken to my son in so long and I don't know where he's at. But these are the women you're supposed to be on the road with 24/7. These are the women that you went through a big part of your life with, a big part of your career with. And even though y'all not on the best of terms, even though y'all still coming to terms with y'all whole group and y'all relationships again, it bothered me that you didn't even care to tell them, this, but you told somebody that was more on a business tip than these girls would be considered. I just found that kind of odd. And then the way Lily talked about the type of friends they were is like, it made you feel like, okay, then y'all were never, it seems like maybe y'all was never really friends because, in life, especially when you go through different stages, you have a friend you can confide in, and then you have a friend you can party with. And then to me, like, I don't call everybody my friends. Like, to me, I have 2 friends. Like, 2 of the people I confide in, I speak on a daily basis several times a day. And then I have friends that, like, I hang out with, I'll confide in them on depending on a situation or circumstantial basis, but these are the people like I hang out with and party with. And it seemed like those girls were more the partying friends and the friends you could confide in. And if you hear a baby crying about our background, that's my daughter. She's out there with her dad, and I think she's crying because she's trying to be up in here with me, and he's trying to give me the time to record this because I haven't had any other time to record this review. That was just a quick side note. That whole interview thing was just uncomfortable for me to watch. Reason being because I felt like Coco was really on some shady shit when she was like, yeah, she's still working on a gospel album. Like, I felt like she was real, like I said earlier, about self. She was only about Coco. And like Lady said, I think the gospel and the R&B confuses the audience, and it does, because it's like pick a lane, stay in your lane. It's just like, it's too much. If you're going to do gospel. Like, nobody's going to discourage you from doing gospel. But don't go ahead and try to do R&B and then try to still do gospel, because that just doesn't make any sense. And the tension that was in the room, it was just too much for me. It's like, okay, we as the audience watching the show, we see it go step by step by step. So we see the tension, and then right now there could be a group that's full functioning and the tension is gone. They're back to trusting each other. But for that to be so apparent for somebody who was just interviewing them one time, I felt like that was really like off. I felt like we can read the tension watching it. It's one thing for us to read the tension watching it because it happened so many months ago. It's another thing for somebody in the same room to read this tension. And y'all supposed to be a group. Y'all supposed to be making a comeback. And it's just, that thing, I just felt like the type of things like them doing interviews and trying to get out there in the public and their group not even meshing. It's just, it's like it's bound to create another breakup. It's like it's no point in even making a comeback because y'all don't even have y'all issues worked out to make a comeback because y'all in interviews and Taj doesn't know the words to the song and it's things are sounding crazy, or y'all talking about Coco's talking about personal stuff that the girl should know because they're supposed to be considered sisters with voices and they're supposed to be her sisters, but yet you're telling an interview like that whole tension and everything. It was just uncomfortable for me to watch because I'm like, okay, I'm watching it. It's the difference with me watching it and then imagining the person who's sitting there who's seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but I'm seeing this months later and this person is watching this in present day. That just was, it just made me feel some type of way. The next scene is them going into the meeting that they had with Jeff. Like I said before, Coco was really about self this episode. Well, the beginning portion. For her to go into the meeting, for her to send the girls to the meeting and not show up, and then go into the meeting like late. You can clearly, well, maybe not everybody else, but Jeff can clearly see the division, and he peeps the divisions, but you can see it. We as the audience, the TV audience can see it. I don't know if they can see it, and it's just, like I said, it was just, okay, not only was Coco late for the meeting, Coco was completely rude to Jeff, and I think that's why she wanted to hold on to Corey, because the shit that Coco would pull with Corey is like she was trying to pull the same thing with Jeff. You can pull that I'm late, it's because I'm Coco, I'm the lead singer, you just have to fall back. She can pull that with Corey. She can't pull that with Jeff, because Jeff can be like, I don't need y'all. I don't manage all these other people. Like, no, it's not that serious. And I just felt like that was, it's just all off. And then this whole R&B and gospel thing is like I said before, pick a lane and stay in it. You're confusing the audience, and then it's like you're doing something, like you're just confusing the audience. And then I felt like, I mean, although when she went into the studio with the gospel singer, she was like, and the song was really good, and I felt the spirit along with Coco when I listened to that song. Like, I felt like at that moment in my head, I was like, Coco, why don't you just stick to gospel? Because you said you need to do this gospel album. This is what you need, and you want to encourage people. Either pick a lane and stay in it, or do a gospel song for the album, because like sins and fall short of the glory of God. So even though you would have made a whole secular album, there's nothing wrong with throwing in a gospel album, because the person could have been listening to your album and related to every song, and that every song probably would have took that person to that point, and then that gospel would have inspired that person to say, you know what, I can do better. This is not the end all be all for me. Like, I could have understood that, but to go make a whole gospel album and then you trying to make a whole R&B album, I just feel like Coco needs to stick it. The next thing is them in therapy. I like the fact that Jeff put them in therapy. I felt like that's what Corey should have did, especially being the fact that he was so close to the group, and then he managed them before, and he managed Coco. I felt like he should have did some type of musical therapy just like Jeff did. And it just seemed, and then when they went into the therapy, you realize the issues that was really going on. Coco had issues with them from the get-go. Number one, she had an issue that Taj and Lily had more of a sister relationship, and number two, management and probably people in the industry was in their ear because Coco was the lead singer. They was making her feel like she was better than the other girls, and she didn't really need the other girls, that she was carrying the other girls, and then that the other girls were just bringing her down, which probably led to her going solo. And that's kind of like what Lily didn't really say, because you can see that Lily is a more neutral one, but it's what Taj said. It's like, you were completely bitch to me, like you treated me like crap. So you can kind of see that's probably what went on, and probably what, of course, that's what led to the breakup. Has this I don't give a fuck attitude that she carried all her life. She felt like everybody who was a part of her life was only a part of her life because she could sing, and they didn't really care about her, and that's very sad. I mean, it's clearly carried over into adulthood, and I feel like along with this musical therapy, Coco may still need some personal therapy, especially being a mother. And then you can see what her relationship with her son is like. Coco, to me, Coco, if she's not in therapy, she should get some personal therapy along with the musical therapy, because of the stuff that she has bottled inside and the issues that she's dealing with. And the whole therapy thing is why Jeff was a better choice. And managers, because Corey was with them longer, but Corey didn't do none of this, and Jeff wasn't with them that long, but he realized there had to be some harmony, like personally, between the girls in order for them to be some harmony in the music. Conversation between Taj and her husband was really cute. So then next thing is, after that, is Coco going to go see Corey. For a minute, I was surprised that Corey decided to be the road manager and decides to be demoted. I was shocked that he was still, but I guess he kind of needed the money. But he was making excuses for what he said. Nah, you said what you wanted to say. And in the way he was talking made me feel like there goes that management division that they was talking about early on when they were younger, because that's probably what Taj and Lily felt. But they didn't want to say it in so many words, because Corey was creating the division between them. I mean, from the way he was talking, that's the first thing when my mind went to was like, oh, that's the management division right there. Corey telling Coco, oh, I have your back, basically saying, I only care about you, Coco. Like, I don't care about the rest of the group. And he kept saying, but I have, like I said, that made me feel like the management division right there. Oh, I have your back, and you da-da-da-da-da. So you only care about Coco. You don't care about SWV as a whole. So why manage them? Continue, especially the fact that Coco is making a gospel album. Why didn't you just manage Coco instead of managing SWV, being the fact that you only cared about Coco anyway? So then Corey agrees to go to the meeting with Jeff. And I could clearly see it was going to be a kissing contest. It was going to be, oh, I did this for them and I'm better than you thing, in so many words. I like the fact that Corey humbled himself, because he knew, like, at the end of the day, to go where the girls want to go, Jeff is the better person. So I like the fact that he humbled himself for the most part. I ain't like the fact that Jeff was like, I'm a legend. I'm not a pioneer, I'm a legend. It's like Corey was trying to give him his props, and he like, nah, nigga, you know I'm better than just what you saying I am. So it's like, that scene was kind of for me. But I did appreciate the fact that Corey humbled himself. Another quick side note. So y'all see that Beach Face Honey got 2 episodes on this. And it's only been 3 episodes and she on 2. So imagine how many more episode appearances she gonna have. Beach Face Honey is doing her thing. Okay, I noticed with this event they weren't late. I don't know if it's because of the fact that other acts were there that were more mainstream, more of today. But they were on time for this event. And it just seemed at first like the crowd wasn't responding to them as much. But then towards the end you see them responding. But I was like, hold up. The crowd wasn't looking like the London crowd. Because, you know, like I said in my other review, like, I was surprised that the London crowd responded to them like that. But this crowd wasn't responding. I guess because it may have been a younger crowd. But then they just started to respond to them. So that was cool. The scene is Taj and her husband and her birthday surprise. I thought that was so cute that he surprised her for her birthday and threw her party. I also thought it was cool that the girls in the group showed up, because especially the fact that they don't seem like they have the most sister-ish friends type of relationship. It just seems like a business thing. I was happy that they showed up, because it does show that they're making amends on their relationship and their sisterhood. And I was like kind of taken aback that Coco was still using cane. But then I don't know the time frame between when she did her surgery and then Taj's birthday, and then I was just like, okay Coco, maybe you might have been too old for that surgery, because you're still looking like you're in pain. But hey, I don't know the time frame. I'm just going off my first mind of what I thought when I seen the scene. And also with that scene, how her husband basically came and told her, okay, well, we met in New York, we got married in New York, and we might be living our last days in New York because I'm going to be coming back. And Lily's like, nah, I mean, not Lily. Taj is like, nah, I'm not interested in coming back to New York. Which I can totally understand, because, in a way I can understand, because when being raised in Miami my whole life, and then going to visit my husband's home in Beesville, Florida, 30 minutes outside of Tampa, Florida, a little small town. Like, I kind of grew to like the country life, and I kind of wanted it for my children. But I never really raised my children there. It was just like a year in spurts and stuff like that. But I can understand where Taj is like, hold up, wait, I done got used to the Nashville life, and I love the Nashville life. New York City is not where I want to spend my last days. Like, it was cool when I was growing up. It's fun to visit here and there. But to come and live here on a daily basis, nah, I'm not really on that. And I can understand where she's coming from. So I can understand her taking it back. But then she's like, oh, you made the decision without talking to me. And he's like, that's kind of like I'm talking to you. But in the same talk, he's like, I'm talking to you about it. But I don't, the decision is kind of been made too. So, I do what you got to do. So I kind of felt bad for Taj, because that's some hard stuff to like establish your life somewhere, and then you trying to bring your career back to a certain point, and then you like, okay, now I have to make another life-changing move and life-changing decision, because I have to move from the home that I've known to back to New York, where I really don't want to be. Just where I'm from, where I grew up, but that's not where I really want to raise my child and live the rest of my days. And here I am in my 40s and da-da-da-da. So I got you, Taj. I got you. Her husband also thought she would have been happy, but clearly, like, he went into that, the way her husband went to the conversation, he thought she would have been happy. And I think he was taken aback a little bit from her response. He probably wasn't taken aback much, because he probably knows that she loves Nashville, but he probably figured because she was up and coming and she wouldn't mind being back in New York, because she probably talked about the fun times that they did have in New York when they went to New York and stuff like that. So yeah, that was about it. That summed up the episode for me. So So that was the episode. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, go ahead and leave them below. I know I got a little bit of flack for my last reviews because of the editing, and I ended up having to re-record, I think, episode 1. So I'm hoping this review is a little bit better for you guys. And I think that's about it. Comments, questions, concerns, hit me below. Any other things you want to do, Twitter, Instagram, all those links will be below. And my email as well if you want to contact me about anything, as well as you can use my YouTube inbox. So I think that's about it. Until next video, I'm out.